Hi, everyone. Before we get started, we would like to thank you all for tuning in a little earlier than usual. This is because our colleagues at Ask the Knights Live requested to have the 7 p.m. time slot, and we were more than happy to accommodate that. It's just so you know, the Ask the Knights Live is hosting a conversation between Lord Logan, who is the host of Ask the Knights Live, Count Seto, who was just on our show a couple of weeks ago, and Lord Stelios from Ontir, about their experiences as people of color in the SCA. And we were happy to accommodate them by moving our show up a couple of hours. So we also would like you to please stick around for the Ask the Knights Live broadcast, and we will drop that link in the feed into our Facebook as soon as we get it. So just stay tuned. And if you're not already watching Ask the Knights Live, you should be. It has a lot of interesting content. As a non-fighter, I love listening to it. I love listening to people who are, interested and good at what they do, talk about what they do. And it's very educational. So definitely check it out. And now, welcome to Between Two Peers, a live stream show where your hosts, Mistress Sassy Seamstress and Sir Danger Muppet, invite a guest from around the known world to answer your pressing questions about life, the universe, and everything. This week is sponsored by Sauza Hornitos because Margarita Tequila is bitches, and that would be me. This show is rated R for language, possible sexual conversation topics. I think we should just strike the possible out of there because it usually is going to be sexual, and general sassy opinions. I'm your host, Mistress Sassy Seamstress, otherwise known as Tulia, and I've spent well over half my life in the SCA, and it's pretty safe to say it's not just a hobby anymore, it's a lifestyle. And with that, here is my lovely co-host, Sir Helga.
Good evening, I'm Sir Helga, otherwise known as Sir Danger Muppet. I've been fighting a little while and been in the society now officially over half my life. Oops. So, needless to say, I think y'all are stuck with me so far. So tonight, we have our guest is Baroness Anna. Currently in Tarnmus, I am stuttering really bad tonight. I'm sorry, I didn't warm up enough. It's like we're 2 hours ahead. I didn't do my normal warm-up routine. So our guest tonight is Baroness Anna from Tarnmus.
Tremaris.
God, I always do. I'm just gonna lay down.
Camera on you. Yeah,
you may also know her alter ego on Facebook as the bitchy historian. So welcome to the show tonight. Would you like to do an introduction?
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies, so much for having me here. I'm Anna Dokainina Siracusina of www.annasrome.com, also known as the bitchy historian, as Helga has gone ahead and let my secret identity fly early on. I am a propagator, I'm also stuttering, of Romanity, Byzantium, and a collector of kingdoms. So we should have some interesting conversation tonight. I'm super looking forward to it. I have a very strong margarita. And all right, I'm ready whenever you guys are to go ahead and get started.
So the only thing that we're going to do before we get going with questions is the drinking game. So remember, if you feel like drinking along at home, drink when a guest or host uses a non-SCA name when referring to somebody on the show. When somebody says, before I was a peer. When somebody says, in the West Kingdom, or the kingdom they're currently living in. When somebody says, when I last reigned. When somebody calls for a soapbox. And when somebody mentions or uses the term spite sprinkles. So, with that, we're ready to roll into the show.
All right. So our first question is from Ciela. What era of historical clothing do you feel the most in, or alternatively, the fiercest in? Armor doesn't count.
Honor doesn't count. Okay.
Armor.
I'm like, honor?
No,
okay.
Armor. I realized I was like, armor.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want me to go first then?
Oh, yeah. So sorry, that's the one thing I forgot to do in the rundown. So you get to answer all the questions first.
Okay. Okay. So I always feel the most fierce in my home era, which is 11th century Byzantium, as a super sassy noblewoman from Constantinople. Tonight I'm in 6th century because it's a little warm and I'm drinking and I didn't want to dribble all over my expensive silk. But yeah, no, when I actually put on the whole thing, for those that have seen, my crazy hats, along those lines, and it's just I look intimidating, I feel intimidating and gorgeous at the same time. I think that little extra touch that I throw in with the crazy hats and the makeup and the jewelry, it just kind of just nails it for me.
Okay.
Well, and
Helga?
Sarah asked, so I've got to answer before she does.
Drink.
So,
Our man behind the curtain, Baby Ninja, just said you're off to a fantastic start today.
yeah,
Today has been a hell of a day.
today, guys. Sorry. The most fierce. Amusingly enough, my black German dress with the evil queen collar. That dress was made for me with so much love and so much attention, and I just absolutely adore what it does to my boobs. Like, it's just like there. Also, I'm short, so it's really easy to distract guys.
I love how you call yourself short. It just cracks me. For
only
not aware, not aware. Helga is literally like 5 inches taller than me, so it just is cute.
I can't help it if you're a hobbit.
Hey.
I'm gonna hide real fast.
She's a dwarf. If I'm a hobbit, she's a dwarf.
Oh, God, I feel like one.
Height-wise.
So, but yeah, just that dress actually, I don't wear feminine a lot. And that dress just makes me feel like $1 million, and because it's fitted exactly for my body. It isn't like a hand-me-down or anything else like that. It moves with me. I can throw a flat snap in it. I can run in it. We tested this all out before Step Up. And so I just like put that on, and I'm just like, try me. And then I've got my little collar that I'm like, I feel like the best supervillain ever.
I mean, that's like the best part about late period is the boobs. I used to joke because I've mentioned numerous times, probably once a show, because who knows who's actually listening or watching that doesn't actually know me. I actually for 16th century costuming, and one of the things I used to brag is that, you know, I could give anybody cleavage. Doesn't matter, I can give you cleavage. I can absolutely, you want cleavage, I can give it to you. I can still do that, but obviously I dress like this now. So I would say the thing I feel the most glorious in, oh man, that's super complicated, right? Ciela knows exactly how to stumble me up on questions because I think she's literally doing it just to fuck with me. So I feel glorious in like everything that I wear. In some form or another, I wear something because I am attracted to a specific component of that era. And I think for me, like right now, I'm awesome because fabulous new like temple rings from Fairy Tales Chest on Etsy. And I'm also really cool, like little dance.
Oh, we've lost her.
Oh no!
To her.
Sarah will be back momentarily. This is the typical sign of a drop.
Yeah.
So this is where we just get to randomly discuss anything that we wish to discuss. So if somebody either wants to shoot a question into the chat or that is it. Okay, so you can't hear our tech crew, but they just asked a question: who's a better fighter, elves or dwarves? Would you like to front that question?
I mean, I've always been. Have you ever seen that meme where it's like the high school and they show you, you know, when I was in high school and you wanted to be this elf and like slender gracefulness, and then you actually grow up and realize you're a dwarf, and that's me. So I have actually realized that yeah, dwarfs actually do kick ass, and you know, elves are pretty. They can live forever. They're like shiny and like, you know, float around and do like elf shit. But for real, the dwarves are like the way to go. Plus they can hold their liquor, which is like super important.
Yes. So I'm not going to say who fights better. I'm going to say that I relate to the dwarves way more than I relate to elves. I've never been tall and ethereal. I am decent with a bow, but I'm better with a bow on a horse, which is really weird. Like, add more motion, I shoot better. Don't ask me. I have no idea what goes on there. So I just... Yep,
I'm right back here.
Right now, Baby Ninja, you're on the screen.
So apparently my internet connection just wants to fuck with me today. That's like the icing on the fucking cake, but whatever.
It's okay. Well, our tech crew is fixing this. The question that was asked is, who fights better, dwarves or elves?
I'm a hobbit. I can't possibly comment. I'm a pacifist.
You are so not. I call so much bullshit about you being a pacifist.
I'm a very, very angry person, but that does not mean I condone violence, right? Okay.
I'm just saying.
I just want to have my food and my wine and my hangout with my buddies. Like, that's all I really want to do. I'm not going to get into the whole who's better at fighting bullshit, dwarves or elves. Not going to touch that one with a 25,000 foot pole.
Nice.
Dwarf.
So, did you? I don't think we actually picked up your answer to the first question.
I was just saying, actually, I looked at the still that was of me, look at my cool little thing. I just want to say, what's it? Oh yeah, that my black.
Oh no!
No way!
This question is cursed.
Oh my gosh! So everybody out there in YouTube land, we're sorry for the technical difficulties. Apparently, we're just gonna have an evening. So please hang on for the ride. We'll make it as fun as possible. Anytime somebody drops, please feel free to drop us a question. And then we'll...
Am I back?
Oh, you're back.
I can't hear you.
Am I back yet?
Oh, she's back.
I'm back. I'm back. Okay. Nobody wants, the gods don't want to hear about my fabulous 16th century black Florentine gown. I get it.
Get dog cam ready if she falls again.
Yeah, shall we move to question 2? Because apparently that one's cursed. So question 2 comes from Jane the Reborn. What is one thing that you've learned since achieving your receptive peerages from someone who isn't a peer?
I'm not a peer.
You're a baroness.
I am a baroness, but I was not landed. It is a court barony. So I don't know if there
We're
is.
doubting that.
Oh, hang on. Sarah, she's multiplying.
I am running this through my computer or through my cell phone right now, my hotspot. So hopefully it'll be more stable. Holy. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's great. It's like a split screen of her right now.
Yeah.
Okay, all of you need to drink because you keep saying Sarah.
Oh, Christ, I'm fucking cracker. All right, hang on. I'm going to quit out mine and restart it. Thank you, everybody, for being very patient about this, colossal technical clusterfuck. I'll be right back.
Go to dog cam. Tell dad jokes while we're waiting.
Oh, I don't. Okay. I do know a couple dad jokes.
Okay.
What do you call a three-legged cow?
What?
Tri-tip. What do you call a two-legged cow?
What?
Lean beef. What do you call a one-legged cow?
What the actual fuck? That is not on my. I don't understand it. I don't know what.
Yeah. I will.
It's just, I want you to all know it's chaos behind the scenes. We have 3 Sarahs. It's just, I think
dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria.
Okay.
So what do you call a one-legged cow?
What?
Steak.
Yeah.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
What? Roast?
Ground beef.
Ground beef. Oh, there we go.
So what do you call a four-legged cow?
What?
A cow.
Can we just skip my last question? I'll post a photo to the Facebook page because apparently the internet gods hate that costume and don't want me to talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think, so we'll go to the second question, and the second question is up. It's from Jane the Reborn. What is the one thing that you have learned since achieving your respective peerage from someone who isn't a peer?
And so, as I already mentioned, I'm not a peer. I am a court baroness, and I know that there is some interkingdom anthropology regarding what court baronies can mean. But as far as my highest awards go, so I am both a Manch in the East Kingdom and a Lux Caedus in the Kingdom of Caed. Honestly, it's cool to have two of the higher kingdom level awards. But in the end, because I move so much, it's just kind of like, oh, that's nice. That's a cool medallion. Now, coronets, however, can be a lot of fun because this one is so massive. The first Pennsic I wore that 2 years ago, I just went shopping and I threw it on and the seas were just parting. So it's very weird and almost kind of humbling when you're walking and you have a shiny hat on, even if you're just a baroness, to have people reverence to you. And that's not something that I'm very used to. It's not something that is very common, let's say, in the East Kingdom, as far as the way that you treat court baronesses. So when I moved to Caed and that was sort of a thing and everyone referring to me as your excellency and giving me a nod or a bow, I was like, whoa, okay, you guys really don't have to do that. But I think having to just come to terms with respecting interkingdom anthropology and not just kind of well, where I'm from, and embracing those new traditions was really kind of a learning experience for me in that regard.
I guess I get to answer the next one. It was really funny because Anna actually kind of mentioned exactly what my experience was when I first got my court barony. I went to an interkingdom war and people bowing to me were like, in the West, nobody gives a fuck about anything. You're wearing it's your quote unquote tin hat, whatever, dime a dozen, can't swing a day, whatever. But to have somebody actually be like, my lady, and I was just like, whoa, no. No, me? Who? Me? No, I'm nobody. And then and then to understand that actually that's kind of part of what this whole point is to actually give respect to the awards that we get, and we get so blasé about it, specifically in the kingdom I'm from. I'm not saying it. We get very blasé about it, but it was a neat and very also kind of like, whoa, what experience. But as specifically as being a peer, let's see, what is the one thing you've learned since achieving your respective peerages from someone who wasn't a peer? I think I get challenged all the time from people who are not peers, who expect me and demand of me and my peer colleagues to do better. And I do take that to heart. I take that very deeply to heart. I don't think that, that the getting the peerage is the feather in the cap, you're done, like, end of the sentence. The real work starts after you get your peerage. And it sounds very trite to say, but it's really true. And so to have people who aren't peers stand up and say, hey, you guys are falling down in this particular area, or even specifically, hey, Tulia, you fucked up there. Like, I listen to those people and I'm grateful for those people to point things out to me that, I could do better. So I think listening, always listening, and always being able to hear people say, hear the difficult things coming out that may be challenging or uncomfortable to confront in your little world bubble of complacency and where you live and where you're comfortable. But having people who are outside that bubble constantly challenging it, that's critical. So that would be my answer.
So recently, amusingly enough, so there's two answers for this for me, and so one of them is from somebody that doesn't have my peerage. They are a peer, but they don't have my peerage, and the other one is actually from a total, they have no peerages, but I highly respect them. And so the first one has no peerages, was reminding me that not everyone is going to agree on how to face a challenge. And that occasionally I just kind of got to do shit. And that was over some very long conversations and some very hard conversations where we didn't actually agree on delivery of something, but we agreed on the message. And so it was a very good conversation and a very enlightened conversation. And so I'm still kind of processing that one because that one happened recently, like really, really recently. And the second one is also pretty darn recent, and from a peer, but they don't have my respective peerages. And that was, I cannot fall to false humility and try to excuse away my peerages or pretend they aren't anything, because then I'm stomping on somebody else's view and dream of it. I can't, you don't use them and like blah blah blah. But if somebody says Your Grace, like, well, and like I still get really weird about getting called Your Grace. Like it weirds me out. And I always said, please don't use my title, everything else like that. And I'm like, it's actually part of my dream. You are somebody that has ruled twice. Like, I would really, like, I'm perfectly fine with you saying, thank you very much for using my title. Could you please refer to me as this? But how you came across to me was actually dismissive of what I find feeds the dream for me. And so I want to see you as a knight. I want to see you as a pelican. I want to see you as a royal peer. And that means something to me because when I go to you, you are also part of the power I'm speaking to. And I trust you with that. And so please let me use your titles, even if afterwards you acknowledge the titles and then say, hey, for the rest of the conversation, can we just refer to me as Helga? Like, or anything else like that. But don't be dismissive of your titles, because then you are dismissing what you have done for other people within the society and you are lessening them in the process. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go sit on that and think and have lots of feels and like lots of very uncomfortable feels. And I'm still having many uncomfortable feels about it, but I'm going to have to tell that person thank you and bring them a beer at some point, and then reinforce that with the conversation that I had with my co-host, where she reinforced that same conversation in 24 hours, and she didn't know that I had the original one. And I was like, oh God, I've been doing this wrong. And so
okay, I'm always up for a drink with.
Yeah, so I owe you a drink also, because like literally the discussion you and I had came right on the heels of the other discussion, and it was just mind-blowing.
Yeah,
because in the West we are pretentiously unpretentious, and nobody uses their title.
Frank.
Yes, I will totally drink, but everybody dismisses it. And then, but you should still honor those titles, but I don't care about mine. And it's a bunch of false humility, actually. And I'm still trying to figure out how to deal with that giant refrigerator box of feelings that I'm not quite sure what to do with.
I mean, I can I just briefly make a statement here about that, is that false humility is a real thing. And I think it transcends kingdoms. I think it's something that I've run into with throughout many different kingdoms that I've been, or people from many different kingdoms that I've interacted with. So I don't really necessarily know if it's a specific just to the West, but it is absolutely a thing here where we are super, super, super like casual. Duke so-and-so, Duchess this, and Count that, and Baroness whoever, like, and who cares? We're all equal. And it's really not. We really should actually take stock in who we are and who we represent ourselves to be in the society, and understand that that is a position of respect. It commands respect, and it commands respect back to the person who respects you. So I think that's the disconnect that people have with these titles a lot of times, is that, and I've gotten into fights with and they're not really fights, just very intense arguments with my most beloved friends who are peers, many more august and elevated than I am, about I don't care that I'm a whatever. I don't care that I'm a duke. I don't care that I'm a laurel. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. And it's like, but you know what? It matters to other people that you are, and that you represent your order, that you represent the peerage in a way that is respectful. So, I mean, that is probably a deep dive question. We could go like way.
I think you and I could have an entire show on that, actually.
Sorry, Anna.
That's why I reacted to you when you were just like, "Oh, I'm just a court baron, or a court baroness." Like, I'm not sure what that means. Like, it means something to the people that gave it to you. It means something to the people that believe in you. And where it doesn't need to be, like, I'm this, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's still something to be recognized because you impact people with it.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, there's that refrigerator box full of feels. Thank you.
Yeah.
Totally welcome to that refrigerator box full of feels.
I know, that's going on the next drinking list. I like that. The refrigerator box. No, I don't think it's I mean, okay, so it's part soapbox, but also I think it's just something that needs to be acknowledged. And I
would like to note I'm drinking for that one. I think I'm counting it as a soapbox.
Okay.
Sorry.
I've been drinking the whole time. I don't even.
All right. Are we ready for the next question?
Yeah, we're going to question 3, and this is from Merrick. Is there a character, real or fictional, you draw from in directing your ideals of quote-unquote chivalry in the context of the SCA that gives you guidance on how you present yourself? So, like, kind of who's your chivalric role model, historical or fictional?
Wow, that one's tough.
It is, isn't it?
I really should have done my research on this one. I really should have done my research on this one.
I know, right?
Wow, that's tough. I'm not sure. I kind of like to consider myself my own moral agent. I mean, I do have an internal monologue. Maybe I am my own personal supervillain in that regard. I mean, I am very well read, but I have never to be completely honest, I have never actually once attached my persona, my image in the SCA to anything, fiction or nonfiction or historical in that regard. I mean, I've done work. I've been able to go into inventories of women from this period, and I have, I mean, like, I love Eleanor of Aquitaine, but I will never be as badass as her. I mean, first of all, I will never have that many children. I mean, I have broken Tulia, but
I love you so much right now.
Anyway. But seriously though, I mean, there are like so many like awesome medieval women and or historical women, I should just say in general, that we could draw from, or fictional women. But I think that in the end that it's very important to me that I am my own moral agent, that I am my own character in this game that we play. So there you have it.
So mine I'll actually go with a weird historical, or not actually a weird historical one, actually a very common historical one, but I'm currently diving into some of the more mediation stuff that this individual did, and it's Salahadin,
Yes.
Who was very generous to those who, I mean, and again, a lot of it's legend. A lot of it goes into legend, but the more I read about some of the things that he did on the battlefield during some horrible times, speaks to his character of respecting one's opponent and respecting the opposition, or learning to sit down and mediate a process and a problem, as well as being adaptable. And so the more I read about, just his character, everybody's flawed. But the more I read about his character, the more I respect his period source more than like the Arthurian legends. And the Arthurian legends, I dove into those a couple months ago when I got called Percival, of all things, which I'm not.
I don't know.
No, I am way more like Kay than I am like Percival. That can be a totally different question on this show at some point. But when I started diving into the Arthurian legends, I started diving into some of the other legends around our fictional and like romanticized heroes. And Salahadin is actually less romanticized because technically he was the opposition. And so what we have is the history written by the winners who still seriously respect this dude. And for what he did. And so I'm going more into that, but the more and more that I read, it's very similar to how I deal with, like, when I'm dealing with somebody in opposition, is how can I bring this to a place where either we fight because we do not agree, like full-heartedly do not agree, and that's the last option, or you mediate that 90% up to it. And what also needs to be give and take in this process. So this individual and I that are fighting, there is not other fallout. So I am not taking hostages. I am not taking emotional prisoners. I am not doing this thing. And that's one of the really odd things that I respect about the dude is like, he wasn't holding people hostage to manipulate the other side.
We're at a half hour.
So there, I kind of went off on that one. I'm sorry.
Oh God, I have so many. Like I'm literally going through like Wonder Woman and my boyfriend and William the Marshal and Eleanor of Aquitaine and like, you know, Joan d'Arc and like, that's really a complicated question. Chivalric ideals. That is a how does one put that? A rabbit hole, a whole thing. It's a whole thing. You can go and get lost in like, you know, who your chivalric ideals, you know, where you pull from, or like what school of thought you come from when it comes to, you know, academic analysis of chivalry. And I mean, I look at like Sir Gawain, Arthurian, you know, who's supposed to be the perfect knight, who's supposed to be the guy who is flawless, and he's boring as fuck. Like, who wants to read about a guy who doesn't like suffer, who doesn't, I mean, he suffers, but he suffers in a like, you know, very existential way. Like, I already do that. I don't need to, that's not something you need to, you know, emulate. I think it's one of these things where I look at it and I'm like, okay, so who actually struggled with it? Didn't suffer, but who struggled to be a good person, who struggled not, and here's the other thing. Historically, we're using this in the terms of the SCA. Chivalric in the SCA is a completely different thing as the chivalric ideal of a knight. That is, as my boyfriend likes to say, a code of conduct between knights, between warriors. Essentially, it's a code of conduct. It has nothing to do with like being a good person, which is what we do in the SCA. We apply it to be nice, be kind, passionate, be honorable, be loyal, all of these things to other people. In reality, it was literally like Hulk smash, you know, the, you know, people that were kind of the ruling class of medieval Europe. So this is my way of saying, like, I can't answer that question right now, and it's been something I've been meaning to like really dig into, and I just haven't. So, teacher, I don't know the answer to the question. Sorry.
That was super tough. It was super tough. I'm sitting here like, wow, I kind of sound awful, like I don't know anything about the history, but I'm like, no, that was tough.
I want to be clear, as actually like one of the things that I suffer from is I have a lack of like a really big depth of medieval history. Like I find my little weird niches and I like dive down into them and I like roll around like a pig in mud. Like I love it. And then I'm just like, pew, and then somebody like makes a historical reference and I'm like, I need to Google that real quick. I'm sorry. Like, I'll be back.
I want you all to know that my Laurel actually commented in the comments and said, Sarah, she said, Sarah, she has to drink. Lana, you'll have to drink. No way do you emulate boring. Well, yeah, I know. For better or for worse, you were my Laurel. You have to deal with all of that shit. So, but I'm not your problem anymore. So awesome, right? But and also people are saying this is a soapbox. I'm not sure it's really a soapbox.
I don't think this is a soapbox. I think we just got to a little bit. We might have to be more succinct with the rest of our answers to get through the show tonight. And I'm totally...
a soapbox is not an answer that takes a long time.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one, which may cause a soapbox, is this is specifically aimed at our guest, who is known for being free with her opinions. Not a bad thing, by the way. Also, while I pour my very hipster drink, I was about to say,
there's no laws when she's drinking cause, folks.
So
see this face?
I would like to know that everybody should get judgy in the comments like super hard. It just, I feed off of it. I love it. So, as a non-peer, do you feel pressure to moderate your opinions and voice online?
Yes. I have been told on multiple occasions, not necessarily from my peers, but from other people that have told me to calm down. The part of the reason why the Bitchy Historian exists is because I was told to back off on my own personal page. And you can see a lot of good that's done over time. And so it does like ebb and flow. Like every now and then I'll be like, yeah, maybe I should police myself. But then when we get into issues such as current events, and I'm still probably not as harsh as I want to be, but at the same time, yeah, I do need to kind of like take that step back. And I'm sure that like the person who asked that question is probably sitting back like, she's so full of shit. But I really do put thought into it. And I have noticed that I'm not nearly as angry online as I used to be. So, improvements are being made, baby steps, but they are being made. But no, I have actually been not necessarily just like, gently nudged to kind of stop things. I have been outright policed before for my behavior online, which I will openly admit to not liking, because I have a mundane life and I have very vast mundane opinions, but yeah, I think there is a point where we do need to like kind of like, all right, let's reel that back a little bit and remember that like other people are watching you, and whether whether it's like your crazy Aunt Mary from like Illinois versus Duchess, someone Susan from North Shield is watching you. And it's little things like that you have to kind of keep in mind. You're not just ticking off like your crazy aunt. You're also potentially offending somebody who sees that behavior. Even if they agree with you, they probably see you as an agent of the SCA, and you need to push it down a little bit.
You're gonna be amused. That was actually something that Helga and I with in a conversation a couple of days ago. So we're not judging you at all, because we were in the conversation that we were having. It was basically how peers react to current events, and how we peers are being perceived versus not peers or non-peers. And I said, honestly, that's a really interesting question, and I think a person who would have a really like insightful answer to that would be Anna, because I know that like you're outspoken and you're kind of unabashedly so. You kind of are just out there. You're like, suck it if you can't take my truth. Fuck you. Which I fucking love. I look at it from a standpoint of that takes strength of conviction, that is standing up for people who are being crushed by the system, and I'm just going to put it out there, using your privilege for good. And that's the way I want to see a peer behave for me. And that's just me. I don't speak for the peerage. I don't speak for the Laurel. I don't speak for everybody. I just speak for myself, which is I want to see courage of conviction. And I see that. And I'm kind of like, I know though, too, in my conversations with people who are, because I guess I should say, I was fortunate when I was not a peer to be coming up in a time when it was much less face about the realities of systemic, racism and bigotry and all that stuff. It was very much a much calmer time societally. And I kind of understand that I had the benefit of that, because I would have absolutely been there, like, just guns blazing. And that probably would have completely like, if not cost me a year, and now as a peer, I look at it and I think, that's something that I should actually be using my voice to put words to and to be out there about. And a lot of people I know don't feel that way. I know that there's a lot of pressure from the peerage side for other peers to just be mundane politics shouldn't be a thing in the SCA. You know what? We're of the mundane world. We're of this world. We have to exist in this world with the policies that we exist with. And we have to acknowledge the fact that even though our disacknowledgement in the SCA of all of that does not mean that it discounts it, and that doesn't mean it's not there. And so, yeah, that's a soapbox. That's a fucking soapbox. All right, fucking drink. I'm going to kick this one over to Helga.
So as somebody that is relatively outspoken, like anybody that follows me knows that I have I try to warn people before I go off on my little mini rants. I was that way as an unbelt, and I got.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got hate mail. Actually, like I gleefully shared hate mail that I got from peers with my knight. I'd be like, "Hey, I got this message. This is great," and like we would sit down and discuss it over like dinner or whatever. So I believe that there is a difference in context about politics versus morality. And one of the things I try not to do is I try not to be outspoken about politics. Politics is your favorite like sports team, basically. Versus morality actually has to do with value and art, like the values of our society versus mundanely and in the SCA. And those function a lot together because the morality issues in society directly reflect in the SCA. And I really wish that we could take some of the hashtags off of it for the political parties. Because I think if we can actually separate that, we as a society could have these morality conversations much easier. And I'm getting a lot of shit right now. Like, I will flat out say that I'm getting a lot of shit in the fact that I will stand up and be like, this is fucked up. Like, how do we deal with this? And that's part of it. And so if you're going to be outspoken as a peer or a non-peer, like as an unpeer or a non-peer, unpeer, I had my knight who would occasionally be like, hey, fuck it, just I need you to slow your roll, okay? Like, can we think about, like, I need you, so he actually taught me a lot of detaching my emotional response to something and having the conversation. And I spent a lot of time reading mediation books and conversational breakdown books and everything else like that, so I could have those very outspoken moments without using the buzzwords to get people that then wanted to fight. And so I would say, be as outspoken as you want. Like, go after it. But make sure that you're divorcing your emotion from it so you can be outspoken and then facilitate conversations about it. Because if you can't facilitate the conversations about it, I'm going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Develop the skills to do it, because that's what changes the difference. I mean, that's what changes the topic. And it's really hard, and it's a lot of work, and it sucks. But I don't want to quiet anybody's voice, but I want them to learn how to facilitate conversation so we can all be better. And that's actually a big point of like the path of peerage to me. For me, is like, be an outspoken person, understand your opinions, be able to articulate your opinions, and understand when emotion is playing into them. Because as a peer, when you stand up on a soapbox, you have some power. Don't be abusive with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna just, can I suck your dick a little, Araya?
Oh.
I'll pay to see that.
I just want to say, actually, that one of the great things about you is that you have read all the books, you have done all the seminars, you know how to speak to people and be spoken to and receive that information if it's difficult, in a very humane and humble way. You know, it's hard. It's hard being told you're wrong. It's hard being told that, you know.
And to be clear, I still flat out step on my dick. Like,
oh, for sure. Your dick is very big. That's why.
I would like to note that, like, I'm not perfect. I issued an apology Monday because I got in a closed doors conversation where I got my emotions involved, and I got just as nasty as the individual that I was discussing with. And but the difference is, I didn't issue an apology to him. I issued an apology for my comportment, because my comportment wasn't befitting a peer in the process. It wasn't befitting what I would expect from my students. If my students had spoken to somebody like that, I would have been like, huh, I don't care how wrong that dude was. Like, we have to work on your delivery, because your delivery just took away all standing you had in that argument. Like, and I did that. And so one of the things you have to do, if you're going to be an outspoken peer, is when you step on your dick like I did, you need to go own it also. And so, and that, I will tell you, sucks. Writing that apology just, oh my God. I didn't want to, because God, I wanted to be right, because that dude was just,
could argue it's not just a peer thing. It's not just a peer thing. It's any human disagreeing with other human thing. It is something that I actually look for in candidates, like, because people aren't perfect. So anyway, we got to move on because we're at 45 minutes. We got the 45-minute sign. This question is from me.
Hang on. I'm sorry.
Here.
We got interrupted with a lovely
Oh,
lady.
no. The Lady of the Lake.
Oh, thank you. She would ask, and I love her for this question, what brought you joy this week?
Oh.
What
By the
brought
way,
me?
I keep all of her questions, so like my desk is covered in sticky notes because they just bring me joy.
Okay, so not necessarily related. So my best friend is actually not a Scadian. He's not faith at all, but he's dealing with like the death of his father. He's finally coming to terms with it. It's been a couple years now. And so he's actually with his stepmom this weekend, and they're cleaning out his stuff and everything like that. And it was sort of weird. So a couple nights ago, like he's been checking in with me, like, oh, look at this stuff, look at this, should I keep this, yada yada yada. But I've been kind of like keeping tabs on him through all this because it's super hard. I mean, especially putting it off for so long and then having this like lull where we're all like sitting around in our own heads for 3 months basically. So he's finally addressing all of this, and he just like flat out said to me the other night, he's like, I just need to let you know that you are doing so much for me right now. You are bending over backwards, like you're being a true friend. He's like, I always, I've known you since second grade, we've always been close. He's like, I just want you to know, like, how much this really means to me in the end. And I was like taken aback because I'm like, well, isn't this what friends do? But having that like affirmation, having that like, true thanks of like, yeah, you really are like, hardcore into this like BFF thing was just kind of like, wow, like that it gave me such a warm fuzzy. And I honestly was like dumbstruck. I didn't know what to say. So that's something I've been kind of relishing in for the last few days. Like, I've actually like, have brought joy. I am receiving joy by bringing joy to somebody else, or at least making their emotion, their like emotional labor through like a very difficult time, like that little bit lighter. And I mean, and that can be applied to so many different things, but yeah, so that was kind of like my warm fuzzy this week.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
So my warm fuzzy this week was being contacted by a member of the society who told me because of what is being done, they are more likely to come back and play because of how the society is trying to address some things right now and there's multiple facets going on. And that was to get a message like that and to say, this person was talking about how the next generation of peers is starting to handle things and how the society is changing. And we talked for a little while. To get a message like that is the coolest thing ever when a ton of us are at each other. And to see the changes happening is super cool. The SCA is highly adaptable, and it is adapting quickly. And that makes me happy because I want to see this game better for the next generation. I want to be old and tottery and sitting on the side of the Eric and like just telling, well, back in my day, we all argued on Facebook all the time. But to see some people actually supported by the changes that are going on is really cool. Also, Sarah got kittens, and that's the best thing ever.
I was gonna say, the thing that brought me joy was we got kittens this week. We got 2 little kittens, a brother and a sister. We're entertaining names. Actually, if you have any suggestions for a brother and sister name combo, please. They're 2 little ginger kittens. They are adorable and crazy. And we're talking about Luke and Leia, but I'm not really like sold on it because I have 2 friends named Leia, and it sounds weird to name my cat.
Also, by the way, Julia, I totally dropped your Monday name.
That's okay, fine. But yeah. Baby Ninja, what was that? What's Bondo and Bunk? What's that? I don't understand the reference. Okay, we're gonna have this chat off chat. Actually, somebody else mentioned, or maybe it was my boyfriend who also mentioned Luke and Leia. He said thought about no somebody else. It was online. That's right. Someone else said Finn and Ray. And I was like, that's kind of, I'm a little more into that because like the little girl kitten is fucking fierce as fuck. I'd name her after Helga, but that would seem a little really awful and weird. And
I'll take that ego stroke.
I did tell you the other day that she's literally your spirit animal.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll totally run around your house half drunk, like yelling at a cat with my own name. Like, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm good with
tiny. She's tiny. The thing is, she was the runt of the litter. She is literally like the teensiest, angriest thing you will ever meet.
Name her Spice Sprinkles.
Spice Sprinkles.
Light sprinkles.
Sprinkles. Okay, yeah, I could go with that. But okay, so that brought me joy. Yeah, like crazy ass little kitten chaos. It just, how can you not be happy with a bunch of like random dingusy creatures just literally running into shit constantly? Like the amount of times they have knocked themselves in the head running into something and like face first. Like, how do they not have concussions?
Oh god, kittens are obnoxious.
Oh god, awful but amazing. So that, I think that would probably have to be my answer. I guess we have to drink. Oh, we said Spice Sprinkles. That's right, we have to drink because it's Spice Sprinkles.
I drank already, but I'll drink again. It's fine.
I mean, that's the game. It doesn't matter if you already drink. Yeah, I just keep drinking.
Literally, that's the goal of
It's the world's stupidest drinking game. Just keep drinking.
Yeah, reals. All right, we ready?
But
we ready for the next song?
I was gonna say one more thing actually.
No.
Helga, my Laurel, my darling Laurel, Duquesa Juana Isabella y Montoya y Ramirez, suggested that I had to make you a 16th century man's costume with the most enormous codpiece. I mean, if you'd wear it, I'd make it.
I mean, would it please the audience? If it will please the audience, I am happy to make sure that.
I'm also like, I don't have to make anything anymore, but also, yeah, that would be really cool. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next question. So this one's a really good one. I'm really excited about this one. This is from me again. Wait, I got 2 questions? No, I got, well, 1.5 questions. Okay. This question is from Tulia. That's me. What song is stuck in your head right now?
Oh my god. See, now that you've said it,
knowing full well it's going to be gone.
It was just like boom. Oh no. I feel like some of my more like recent earworms that have not gone away have been Rose Tattoo by the Dropkick Murphys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think like Fault by Imperative Reaction, and those two just keep like rolling through my head. It's so bizarre.
Nice.
Oh,
like
wait, the mandolin. There goes Dropkick. Here we go.
So mine is Linkin Park, Line in the Sand.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to say mine actually that I woke up with first thing this morning was We Care a Lot by Faith No More. Because it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. So yeah, listen to your Faith No More. They're good. But yeah, I think that one's my answer. All right. That was an easy question. Next one.
Next question. Well, we're catching up. We rambled a little bit tonight. So
every night.
This one is from Elizabeth. What is a truth that gets said about you that hurts or bothers you?
That hurts me.
I like how you're like, I would like to note that this is my armor of no fucks.
I don't really know if I have kind of thick skin, but there are a few things that really do get to me, and I know I can be very melodramatic at times, but a truth about me though that I have heard, like, you kick a lot of shins, you piss people off, and part of me's like, good, but then it's part of like, yeah, that's not how you make friends and like, win enemies and things like that. So I mean, it's been a while where I've really been like kicked down, but not long ago though, actually, now that it's in my head, because my tequila is almost gone, but someone had actually commented about my weight when I was at Burka. Yeah, because they don't see us anymore in the East Kingdom, so we aren't going back, and that's something that we have decided that we're staying in the South, and like someone was just like, wow, I know I haven't seen Ange in a while, but I think she's starting to get a little, and I'm like, yeah, thanks. I know my butt's big. That's something that depression does. It's kind of cool. I sit on my butt all day and cry. So yeah, my butt is getting big. So now I'm going to go and sit on my butt again and cry and probably eat something because food is delicious. And then I'm going to have to reconsider my diet, but just not today. Today is macaroni and cheese with hot sauce. And I'm gonna cry into that bowl of macaroni and cheese and hot sauce, and then I'll reassess it. But yeah, no, people have actually started commenting on my weight, and I'm not honestly, my measurements have not changed a whole lot. So it's kind of either my dress was laying weird, or they just have nothing to say to me at all, so they had to think of an insult. But yeah, anytime someone really picks on my weight, I actually get a little upset.
As well, you should.
Yeah,
because that's some bullshit. We are beautiful and perfect the way we are, and anyone who says differently, off. Getting movie sign from Carius in the background right now.
And so everybody knows we can probably run until about 6:15, 6:20. The only reason we're cutting off early is the fact that I'm going to help go run the Askanites tonight. And so we're having to really keep this one to that, because we're trying to make sure that we give them time to set up and supporting them. So I'm the limiter tonight. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine actually, and I was happy the fact that we were able to move 2 hours ahead from Ask the Knights. When they asked if we would move, we were like, "Fuck yes, we'll move." Yeah, whatever you need. What here? Let us just give it to you.
Do this thing. Okay, so
let this come.
Speed answer these questions.
Yeah. But yeah, so we are on a bit of time constraint because of it, but so we're not going to go too crazy. But the thing that somebody said about me that cut me to the fucking core, and everybody's going to laugh, is that I was too sensitive. And I've gotten this for years. Like when I was like a wee little thing, knee-high to a grasshopper, I always got, Sarah, you shouldn't be too sensitive. I can refer to myself in my mundane name, right? That's not a drinking offense. Anyway, whatever. Point is, okay, so we got a technical pass from Baby Ninja in the background that says that it's okay because it's only for SCA names. In the SCA context, I don't have to drink. But yes, when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I always got you're too sensitive. You just need to lighten up. You need to whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I get that I'm sensitive. I get it. I feel so hard about all the things. I have all the fucks. In fact, that's what my friends always joke about, is that nobody's got more fucks than Tulia.
So when I'm missing fucks, I go visit her and I just steal a couple. It's like
I've got a plenty. I am prodigious fucks to give. I will give super fucks to everybody. But
I need to make you cards.
Are we still doing phrasing?
We're out of phrasing people. Best.
I'll give fucks to everyone. I don't care. You want a fuck? I got a fuck. Give me a fuck. But yeah, so the thing that cut me super to the core, and this was probably about 10, 15 years ago. And it was somebody in a group that SCA group that I was a part of at the time online, who it was one of these memes that went around and said say something about me, and this person said, "You're sensitive," and that literally triggered me so that it's stuck with me ever since then. Fuck you, I'm sensitive. Okay, fuck you, I care. Oh, is that bad? Oh, it's bad that I give a shit. Fuck you.
It's really fun to watch.
I'm sorry, that was a bit of a soapbox right there. It was a brief soapbox, but it was kind of a soapbox. Oh God, it's a bad thing to give a shit. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. All right, so truth that gets told about me that hurts or bothers me. I have a problem reading out loud, and so when people make fun of it, it's really it's it takes me a lot to get over. So I memorized ceremonies as queen, because if you put something in front, if you just put a huge page of words in front of me, I can't read it. Like that, it's so I'm dyslexic, and my school didn't pick that up, and so I taught myself how to read upside down and backwards in a mirror, because I figured out that like I could read my friend's book when it was upside down. But I couldn't really read it in front of me, and so I did at like 8 years old. I started figuring out neuro reprogramming. But I would go into my bathroom after my parents had gone to bed, and I would take my books and I would turn them upside down in the mirror, and that's how I taught myself to read. And eventually, I turned them right side up, and then I would read the same paragraph, and then I would turn the book over and I would read the same paragraph. And so it's something that I'm really. So when you Wow, there's actually emotion behind this. I'm really sorry, guys.
Fine.
When I get made fun of by how I read out loud, it's really, really scary for me. And so being queen was frightening. Every ceremony, every time I stood up in front of a crowd, all I could think of was reading it wrong. And then I would get made fun of. And
you rocked it though.
So I just memorized things.
So
because then nobody can make fun of me and call me stupid. I got called stupid a lot as a kid. And I've been called stupid as an adult because occasionally I have to tell people to slow down so I can hear them.
My sister-in-law is also dyslexic, and she did the same thing where she did the same reprogramming, reading upside down and anything. But it's you overcame your struggle though, and while it's still difficult, it's still really hard to come over. You nailed it, and that's something that you should just carry with you. You still have that terror. You will always have that fear, but you in the end you overcame it and you nailed it. And people loved you as Queen of the West. So
on camera, it's been a long week, and apparently, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So Baby Ninja just said that behind the scenes, her memory is terrifying, and it is actually.
So I've learned just to look at something and memorize it, because that way it saves me. Because if I just try to read it off the fly, I can't do that. And so I've done a lot of very weird shit to get around that, and I don't talk about it as much as I should. And I actually really probably should talk about it more, because instead of trying to hide it, if I can just own it, I can help somebody else deal with it, instead of being ashamed by it, because I was taught to be ashamed by it, and fuck that. I was smart enough at 8 years old to start memorizing shit so I didn't look dumb in class. So moving on to the next question. Please, God, let's move on to the next question. Also, I would like to note this eyeliner is worth every penny I spent.
All right, so this comes from Anonymous. When a project is not going well because of original vision or technique, what do you do to recenter and improve things?
The short answer is drink.
Wait a minute, that was my answer.
So this is something that I've had to work through right now, and the project that I'm working on right now, which is almost done, and I'll actually probably just tell you guys right now, I am going to be the first person in the SCA that does Hittite garb. It's sitting over here right now. It is going to show. There will be pictures this week. I am super excited. The weaving has to be finished though, so it's not quite there yet. And the reason why it's been so hard is that there just isn't much, and so it's okay, how do I do this, or what's that, or just a general project, if things just aren't going good, you do an inset sleeve the wrong way 17 times, and it's something that you've done a million times before. If I don't throw something and then cry, which I'm not ashamed to admit that I actually have sewing temper tantrums. I'm better now, but I have actually physically thrown sewing machines before and everything. Usually what I do is that I go and I have a cup of tea and I just sort of zone out. I'll go sit on my porch if it's not disgusting hot outside, grab the cat, just kind of find a way to focus, watch something on TV, eat, eat a snack, just something to give myself like, a span of time, half hour to an hour. If I need longer, I need longer. But, focusing on a different thing or, especially eating or drinking something can actually reset your mind amazingly. A bubble bath. Bubble baths are wonderful. And they also have helped me get through a lot of shit. So, but most importantly, though, is just to not give up. I have like piles of UFOs over here right now where I've just been like, but now I'm starting to slowly go back and work on them. But yeah, the most important thing I've had to do is just, find my niche, do that reset, and then just get back to it and finish it up. So.
Sorry, I was asking the Lady of the Lake to grab my eyeliner because everybody's asking me what it is now, because I would like to note that after that, like, that shit stayed.
Yeah, we need to have a commercial. We need to have like I think we lost Sarah again.
When nights cry, like, you use this eyeliner.
I mean, it's working that good because I put on heavy eyeliner at Wars.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is the stuff.
Yeah, so I tend to wear eyeliner more at Wars than anything else because I have very blue eyes.
Me too.
And so occasionally I get the sun reflection where I'm like almost blind. And so like that's the reason why I'm running around a hood all the time. Like if you see me with a hood up, it's because I literally like I'm actually sun blind. I see way better at night than I see during the day. So back to the question at hand. I'm gonna have to read it again. I'm sorry, I'm still recovering.
Yeah, we did lose Sarah.
Oh shit, we did lose Sarah.
Doggo Cam!
Doggo Cam is the best. And we see Curious too. Yeah. So yeah, Doggo Cam is awesome. And if anybody ever wants to talk, wait, we lost Helga too. I'm sorry, you should still be able to hear me.
No, I still see you. Okay,
yeah, because Curious is up and the Doggo Cam is up.
Hi everyone.
Doggo Cam is the best. Maybe when we have technical difficulties, one of the things we could do is like just change over to a big slide that's just Dog Cam that says we'll be back soon. We're fixing technical glitches.
Not even. Here's the dog.
Okay, so with the Doggo Cam, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just answer this question right now of just when a project's not going well for me. When a project's not going well for me, I tend to try to back up to the simplest thing. And so, like, I do this in my fighting also, is back up to success. Like, go back to the simplest thing, go back to the biggest chunk of success that you can find in it, because that's going to reset you, and it's gonna take you out of the gridlock, basically. Because when you're looking at a project and it's a problem, and you're looking at it, and you're looking at it, and looking at it, the brain will start focusing only on that. Successful in like playing with it. So if that's playing with the background, if that's playing with other things, then I'll go like mess with that for a little while, and then I'll go back to the problem area. And half the time I find that is if I do that, like the problem area fixes itself like that. The best way, the biggest like screw ups that I do is I love putting arm's eyes in backwards.
Oh yeah.
Like that apparently is my kink, is one arm's eye in, perfect, the other one backwards every fucking time. Or I'm going to cut two left sleeves. Yeah. Oh, we have total Doggo Cam. This is great.
Total Doggo Cam.
I would like to note that she is the best, and she reminds me so much of the Booms. And so, yeah, that's just what I do, is I just try to go back to success. Even if it means I'm going to be successful at making a cup of coffee. I will set my project down, I will walk away from it, and I will go to where I can be successful for a moment and put my brain back in that mode. And then I can come back to the problem without like hating myself for it, because I am big and should have a championship in self-deprecation. Like, if we're going to have that contest, I am winning. I am getting that big plaque belt for it. And I'm going to run around like some WWE star and bounce off my bed and just be like, ah! That's how that's going to go.
Yeah, I see. I have anxiety, and it's something that I've had to come to terms with over the last few years. Where, especially as a female with ADHD, makes things awful anyway. But then, having to come to terms with also having anxiety and depression, and then just trying to figure out how to overcome anxiety, because obviously, self-depreciation, it sets in almost immediately. You screw something up, and then it's just like, that's it. I'm awful. I'm literally the worst. But I do really like your idea of like dialing it back to something successful, even if it is just, nuking like, chunky soup, and then, going in and then just like reassessing, hey, I did a thing. Now I can go back in and finish this thing that I failed, but I won't fail again.
Yeah. And that's something that also I try to do with my students. And so I am blessed with some very stubborn students who are also just talented. And I cannot love them enough, because they have made me such a better period. Even my not my students in big quotes, because I have a couple like people that I have just adopted to be like, hey, by the way, I'm your mama hen. I'm also the angry knight, and I'm a pelican. And so like, just, you're stuck with me, whatever. Like, come to me for advice or problems, but you're stuck with me. So, and all other people can fuck off. But I am blessed with a bunch of them they can pause and come to me and tell me I can't find success right now. And so we worked really, really hard on developing that language. And so that when they hit that spot, they can be like, oh, okay, hang on, brakes. I can't find success. And so they will come to me, and then we will actually work them back to success. If it's in fighting, if it's in their arts, if it's in their service or anything else like that, we back up to the point of like, where are we being successful? Cool, great. Now let's look at the problem. From this point of success, now we're going to look forward and see if this is actually a problem or if this is just a byproduct.
Right. No, that is like super awesome. I'll have to tell my therapist. So.
It's actually, amusingly enough, it's from a neuro reprogramming book.
Oh, there we go.
And we're trying to get Sarah back on, guys. I'm very sorry. So you guys get Doggo Cam and you get to hear our voices. You don't get to see my really dumb faces. So I grew up very poor, with some really bad habits and some not okay things, and I'm a very good liar. And so I've done a lot of neuro reprogramming to like beat those behaviors. And so if anybody wants to geek out about that, like, you can totally just message me and I will geek out about that until the day is long.
I wonder what happened to Sarah. Has been lost in the ether, I think.
It's like refusing to let her back in the meeting.
That's so weird.
I'm wondering if I invite her. We're also coming close to our time though, which sucks.
Right, yeah.
So, Baby Ninja, can you throw us back up there? Up to the YouTube? Up to the YouTubes? That's fine. Everybody meet Baby Ninja. Oh,
here's the eyeliner.
Okay, are we back? Oh man, you don't have me up there, and I have the eyeliner. So everybody, I would like to note that the eyeliner is.
I already posted it in the message.
Oh, apparently she already posted it in the messages. So did you post it in the YouTube or the Facebooks? Now I'm trying to find it, but you don't see it. Neither do I. It must be on the YouTubes then.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, don't see it on the. Okay, either way, the eyeliner is Eyecrow. It's EYEKO, and it's the fat liquid eyeliner pen. And this stuff is just baller. Like, it is my favorite. It's actually what I do my lip stripe with.
Oh, nice.
And it stays. It stays forever. Like, and in the morning, I just like I wake up and I can be like squeak squeak, and I have like the perfect smoky eye.
You said it was MAC or?
No, it's not MAC. Like, I thought it was MAC. It's not MAC. This is an off brand. So, but this has been great because I've had this pen for a while and it's still like crisp and it is just delightful.
Nice.
Going back on screen. Well, you can barely see it. I've like rubbed the name off of it a bunch. I'll post it on my Facebook, but it's really good and I'm super happy because I would like to note that all of my makeup is from the lady at the lake who is just like, oh, you're learning how to girl? I bought you things. So, do we want to like just go to the next question?
I mean, we probably can, because we're gonna have to wrap up soon, and then I mean, maybe we can have like Sarah like message us or something, and I just said her real name, so we have to drink.
Yeah, and we might we can always do a redo too of the show. I hope that our audience has been amused by our antics today, because everything is going wrong.
Everything is going wrong.
Thus is webcasting. Thus is webcasting on like free platforms everywhere.
And live, because nothing ever goes right.
Nothing goes live. Actually, our tech crew has made everything so much easier since we've gone live, because when Sarah and I were doing it ourselves, we're just like, we know nothing. So, are you? Yeah, Doggo Cam is like a very smart idea. Like, please hold, everything has gone wrong. Please view our beautiful dog.
Yes.
So, oh, I love this one. How many pearls are enough pearls?
There's no such thing as enough pearls. Like, it's just impossible. Okay, no, there is one instance in where you should not have too many pearls, and that's on your backside. You should never over pearl your butt or pearl your butt at all. Otherwise, you're not sitting down.
Yeah, I was like, isn't it like sitting down on sandpaper then?
Yeah. So my first like super fancy a Byzantine gown called a Dalmatikon, I pearled every round. I mean, they were like the little, like, geometrics, every single one, including my butt. And everyone's like, are you sure that's a good idea? I'm like, yeah, but why would I leave it? Every last bit. I mean, it looks like, I feel like I'm a Dalek when I'm wearing it, because it's gold and it's got these big old pearls on it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like I wore it to like one event, and I'm sitting down, and you can just kind of feel it sliding on the chair. You're like, this is not okay. This is
bad. This is bad.
It was super not okay. So I still have it. I don't wear it. So I actually, because the pattern's wrong and everything, but I do stuff because I put so much work into it. But yeah, so in the case of pearls, there's no such thing as too many unless you bead your butt. Never bead your butt.
So why? We're not doing phrasing anymore. And so for me, too many pearls is, I actually think about like hanging pearls, and I'm very hard on my jewelry. Like I love my knight's chain, for one, the weight of the fealty, like, and just the reminder, but also I haven't managed to break one yet. Versus like a string of pearls, I'm going to send flying within 45 minutes. I talk with my hands, and I talk like somebody that's never worn jewelry their entire life. So I didn't learn not to like make gestures really close to my body. So I do this pow, and I just like litter pearls upon everybody. Yeah. Like, it's, I'm sorry for the shower of slightly hard round objects. My bad.
So you have to knot all of those pearls, so if it breaks, they don't go everywhere.
So my pearl medallion is on wire, because I broke the necklace twice in 6 months. So yeah, I redid that.
No more pretty jewelry for you. That's it. No, we're just gonna wire
it
out.
It has to be short, so either all my necklaces are very short and close to my neck, or they're my knight's chains. And I have totally like strung myself with my knight's chain before, where I've been like talking, which is gold, by the way. It is absolute gold. I wish that was on camera. So how many pearls is too many pearls? Well, if it's beading, as long as you don't mind me tearing them off on things, great. Like, there's not enough pearls. But for me, almost a string of pearls is too many pearls, because I'm a klutz. So we're at 6:18. Miss Sarah has not been able to come back on. Sadly, there's a bunch of...
That's my fault. My bad. I don't know. She had 3 people in at one time, and I had to kick one of or 2 of them, and apparently it won't let them back in since I kicked that. It is totally my fault.
What I would like to do is offer, I hope our audience has enjoyed our antics tonight. It is definitely the episode that has had the most fails so far. And there's now doggo cam. So welcome to the next level of this, is their dog cam. But what I wanted to say is we would love to invite you back for a redo, where we have our systems working. But if you'd like to, you've been an absolutely delightful guest. It has been a joy answering these questions with you. We will throw a whole new batch of questions at you too. Like, you're not going to get a redo with the same questions, by the way. You're going to get a whole new batch of questions. But if you would like to come back, you have been an absolute delight. I'm really actually looking forward to getting to know you more as a person. I think that you're, to, you know, kiss your ass a little bit, you're very well spoken and poised, and I love that. You're also extremely smart about what you like. The bitchy historian is like the perfect tagline for you, and I want to get to know you better.
Thank you. Speaking of the bitchy historian, I'm going to plug something. I will be on the internet on Sunday night. It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern time. So again, 5 p.m. for you guys on the West Coast, on Esoterica, the podcast, not dressed like this. I will be the bitchy historian that night. So for those that are interested in checking that out, it's Esoterica, the podcast. You can look them up on YouTube and their website. They are based out of the New England area. And I will be discussing current events from a historical lens. So that should be a boatload of fun for those that would like to hear me go off on a completely different tangent. And I would absolutely love to come back to Between Two Peers, hopefully, you know, when poor Sarah is able to stay on the ethereal plane a little bit better.
We need to get you and Kunahild on for like the rapid fire round of like all of us just can be total geeks. And so thank you so much, everybody. Seriously, go check her out, follow her. Like it is delightful content. Also, all of us can be better at history. Like, it saves us a lot of problems. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do our closing remarks, and I'm going to put a pointed end on this one. I want to say thank you all so much for joining us tonight. You guys are the reason why we keep doing this and keep having fun with it. You send us questions that we get to answer. You know, we get to ask people from around the known world. And it's your support that makes us show up every week. And so we just want to say thank you seriously from the bottom of our hearts. Follow us on YouTube. It helps us with keeping content going strong. Follow us on Facebook. We ask dorky questions all week long. And then with that, I'm going to say, if you're watching tonight, please go tune in to Askanites. If you do not know where it is, send me a private message. I will send you the link. And this is where I'm going to drop the moral / political / opinion bomb on the show, which we try to avoid normally. Right now, in the mundane world, we're going through a big shift, and we're having to face a lot of our own internal biases. The fact that systemic racism is real, and where in the society we have brushed off a lot. Askanites is hosting a roundtable discussion with 2 POC members of our society, where they're going to ask questions and get, you know, and talk about some possible solutions. I really, if you want to make the society better, if we want to face all of this, please go tune in. There's going to be many shows about this. Pay attention, and it's going to be hard because all of us want this place to be our dream. So let's make the dream for everybody and face some of the things that we don't want to, because we're going to have to look at ourselves. Do the hard work, so when we get to get back together, all of us can come just roaring back, because everybody belongs in this group. So love you all. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you next week.